Adjutant online. Registry.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special GGvision StarCraft2 Colosseum episode with me, Sebastian Sjöberg, and our Pro Gamer Gladiator of the Week, mouzHasu, here fighting on Shakuras Plateau versus Dignitas SjoW from Sweden. But this is very special, not only because this is the final episode of this Gladiator week with mouzHasu, but also because I got my good friend xHydrax with me. How are we doing, Hydra?
Yeah, doing good and just eager to watch this match with mouzHasu involved in it. Well, SjoW is also awesome, but I'm really eager to take a look, see how good he's going to do against such a beast Terran as SjoW.
Indeed, these players, they have made quite a name for themselves. I think SjoW was actually the one who had to jump in for the Terran Emperor Slayer's boxer when he did not attend DreamHack Invitational in Stockholm a few weeks ago. And that's of course not his only way of having made his name out there in the StarCraft 2 world. He's won so many victories and did very well in IEM and as well as DreamHack and many other venues. Joined Team Dignitas because he got a better offer from them than from the MYM team, if I do believe. And here we see SjoW placing his first barracks and a gateway for mouzHasu now going out to scout. This will definitely be an interesting game, and I think it will be an epic conclusion to the Colosseum week, where mouzHasu has been fighting so many memorable battles already.
Well, I do love mouzHasu. As you say, SjoW is also a tremendous Terran player, probably amongst the best in Europe, and he's been showing himself on the tournament scene for quite a while now. I mean, the guy is very well known. He's been around playing on the highest standard, highest levels as a Terran in Europe, and he's going to be facing against someone that surprised all of us on the TSL. As you know, everyone knew mouzHasu, but he was kind of down. You know, people didn't recognize him as one of the top references playing Protoss in Europe, but with his performances on the TSL, he just showed us that he deserved that title. So here he is.
Indeed, and here even chasing away the SCV, building a supply depot for SjoW. So first blood, or at least scratch on the paint, goes to our Gladiator mouzHasu, who of course took the 4th place final in Team Liquid Star League, as you mentioned, and definitely showed that he is one of the world elite champions of Ire, and probably the best Protoss in Europe, depending on what mood White-Roy is on that particular day. And here we see the second gateway being planted for SjoW, as well as cybernetics core on the way. Meanwhile, we see a Reaper as well as concussive shells coming out for SjoW. I believe mouzHasu plays the gateway obviously, and the Reaper is almost out for SjoW. He'll be doing some harassment shenanigans while expanding behind it, being well ahead of mouzHasu in that early economy game.
Yeah, we did saw he grabbing him the tech lab on that barracks, and I was wondering if it would be a Reaper, and it was. He's actually getting his Reaper to go all the way up north. I think he's going to flank and show up there from the north side, try to show up on Hasu's base on the opposed entrance, on the opposed side of where he might expect any kind of harass. But still, I think he's going to commit himself to a lot of micro with that Reaper and keep mouzHasu busy, because he took his chance to grab a command center on the Natural Expo as well. And this is always a risky maneuver. It's an early command center on his Natural Expo, but if he's able to contain any kind of aggression on these early stages of the game, he might be able to reap the rewards and benefit from a strong economy later on. And as you can see, you have the Reaper just arriving here.
Indeed, and being somewhat thrown back by a quick sentry and a cell, it seems like. Yes, indeed, a Nexus has been planted for mouzHasu. And I should also point out to the viewers that this is indeed the MLG version of Shakuras Plateau, which of course means that the more recent additions that we've been used to are not here. You see here, as the Reaper climbs back into SjoW's base, that there are destructible rocks here in the back entrance leading into the smiley face expansions, and this is the version of Shakuras Plateau that I very much prefer. I do not approve of the recent changes made by Blizzard, so this will make for an excellent game, I do believe, as we see now mouzHasu moving out with a bit of a light contingent force that will put on a bit of pressure on SjoW. Over to you, Hydra.
Yeah, the problem here is that SjoW doesn't have much of an army. As you can see, he's pulling a lot of SCVs. Try to keep that bunker rolling, keep it up, and help defend this base. He was just assuming a defensive stance, as you can see, getting a second bunker down. And he didn't have much of an army here. He had like a marauder and a couple of marines, besides what he already had inside that bunker. But it was enough to withstand the pressure this time. But I think it's time for SjoW to start gathering up a fairly decent army, or else he might be just break-in by mouzHasu. I mean, mouzHasu just made the first test there. He has that proxy pylon on the south side of the natural expo from SjoW, meaning that he might be able to warp in more units there. For now, he's playing out of how many gates? Let's take a look. 3 gates here on the main base, and he's getting now a pylon there. I thought it could be a 4th one, but no. So basically he went 2-gate expand, made a 3rd one afterwards, and was just applying a little bit of pressure on SjoW to see if he actually had any kind of defense. He did, but it was really, really close. It wasn't that easy as it appeared, it seemed on the images when you saw SjoW defending, and he had to pull a lot of SCVs from his mineral line to keep that bunker repaired and able to sustain the damage.
Yes, but those concussive shells that he was very particular about upgrading quickly truly made a lot of difference. We've seen many Terran players delay that upgrade, sometimes even forgetting it. Now we see an observer coming out from mouzHasu. But I do believe that SjoW is known for his early defensive tactics, and he's even nicknamed the Blind Terran because he prefers not to do early scouting, since he, quote, that would only enable him to spot cheese that wouldn't change his build anyway. So he is a very defensive Terran early game, and likes to play it that way. So I guess he's very confident in his defensive abilities. Now mouzHasu going for a 4th gateway and a forge. Meanwhile, we see that stim upgrade just finished for SjoW and combat shields on the way. Now he's moving out, and he's actually taking down an observer for mouzHasu. That's always a good thing when players are able to snipe observers.
And interesting or not, seems like he's going to prepare himself for a push. I would assume that it would be timed with the shield, but the shield upgrade is still not finished, and he's going to push anyway with some nice force field play, splitting the forces from SjoW on that ramp, and now he's going to try to finish off the ones that got stuck on the front. There's not much left of this force that SjoW brought here to the ramp that gives access to the natural expo from mouzHasu. Very well defended, and if you take a look inside the main base from SjoW, he's quite committed to his bio play. Already has 5 racks there, now finally getting a factory in the starport, getting a reactor attached to that factory. I found that interesting. Might be for the switch with the starport to get some medivacs out and basically end up with an M army, which seems to be the way. But I do see Blink getting ready for a mouzHasu, meaning that he might be committing himself to a lot of stalker play later on.
Indeed, it seems as if SjoW is very dedicated to his infantry, as you said. Meanwhile, mouzHasu is one of the strongest proponents of Stalker Blink Micro. He has used it with surgical ability so many times throughout this week, and that will definitely be able to be a way of countering the strong mobility of such a Terran force. And we also see them being neck and neck in upgrades. I believe that SjoW went ahead with weapons, whereas mouzHasu chose to go for armor first. Those little things, they are always interesting to note. Now medivacs being pumped out, and we see an additional 2 barracks and 1 starport being pumped out. So he will be able to combat any Colossi should they appear with Vikings, as well as keeping up medevac production meanwhile. And a Ghost Academy going up as well.
Yeah, but notice that on the other side, on Asuhop side, he's getting a Dark Shrine, so we're going to have some DT playing coming soon. Also, he's getting his upgrades rolling, like you stated, and we have Vikings coming out for SjoW. He actually got another starport with a reactor as well, and he's putting out Vikings on all of them, so we're going to have a pretty big Viking force coming out soon enough. I'm not sure if he's expecting any kind of Colossi play soon. Obviously the Vikings will work as a counter for that, but for now he's just getting some out to get a proper squadron and might be able to prevent any damage that some Colossi play in the future might come up. But he might be in trouble. I don't think he's expecting for the DTs, and this Dark Shrine is almost finished.
Yes, exactly, and here we do see a problem with not scouting, a problem with being a blind Terran, because in a game I did a couple of days ago where mouzHasu faced Swedish Zerg player Lalash. Lalash had a very strong mid-game, but he blindly countered Colossi that never appeared with too many Corruptors, and hence he had a too small a ground army, and that cost him the game. And here we see SjoW perhaps making useless Vikings, so we'll just have to see how that comes into play. But this of course plays in mouzHasu's favor, now blinking away from that highly DPS wielding Bioball that just wasted a stim. And we also see Cell at leg speed being almost done as mouzHasu retreats up his ramp. Will SjoW continue? No, he backs off quite wisely. And well, this is currently, I'd say that mouzHasu is quite a bit ahead, having 62 probes to the 53 SCVs of SjoW. Even with mules, that puts him slightly ahead. You see the mineral intake, and our Gladiator of the week is doing well.
Yeah, and is now trying to push out with a lot of Stalkers backed up by a couple of sentries. They're gonna meet up with the Bioforce from SjoW in the middle of the map, as you can see. And now there's the Vikings flying up, but I mean, they're kinda useless at the moment. And the Bioforce from SjoW is finally arriving here, trying to thwart this offensive from mouzHasu and forcing him to pull back. At the same time, keep an eye on that south expansion that mouzHasu is grabbing. Exactly. So he's going to be playing out of 3 bases soon enough, and we start to see some DTs getting mixed on the Protoss army, something that you don't see that often. And I wonder what SjoW has to defend this, besides scans, obviously, to detect them, because I don't think he even has any missile turrets or anything like that. Yeah, he's just making them now. I think he noticed that the DTs are there in the middle.
Yes, but currently he's got 7, that was 8 until a second ago, Vikings hanging in the air, only 1 medivac. That perhaps is the most crucial thing right now, having completely misjudged the situation, blindly countering a unit that actually mouzHasu is known to not like. He has been quoted of saying that Colossus are a boring unit, I go for Templars with feedback and Sizestorm. We've yet to see high Templars, but this is a very smart way of playing the metagame to your favor. Having opponents blindly countering what's not happening, but here a massive attack is indeed happening. mouzHasu is moving up. This is definitely a favorable position for SjoW. I would say the concave, even though the force fields cut them away, it did not cut the forces in half, and mouzHasu is forced to retreat. That was a greedy attempt at finishing off a Terran too early, I'd say.
Yeah, well, he has quite a respectable menacing death ball here, but seems like that it wasn't the right time. And as you can see, SjoW also has a pretty respectable army, so I think that Hasu should just commit himself a bit more to his econ game and to his SimCity, his macro play, because basically he's on 3 bases at the moment, I guess 2 from the Terran, and that will show on the economy. If you check the income tab, you have Hasu almost on 2,000 minerals, while you have SjoW on 600 at the moment, so it's a sign that his economy is just dwindling down, and SjoW needs to expand, while Hasu is just taking the lead and pulling away on this game.
And here we nearly had a confrontation that would have favored SjoW had he chosen to attack. He might still do it, but now Hasu has broken down the rocks and can easily escape. Indeed, he's got nearly twice the amount of harvesters, does mouzHasu, compared to SjoW, because he lost a lot in that earlier exchange. So mouzHasu is extending his lead, and here we see a DT being all up in that Bioball's business of SjoW. But definitely a Terran army like this, if put into a good position, can definitely obliterate the Protoss force in seconds. We don't have Templars with Sizestorm or anything like it. Here we see an EMP missing its target. Very nice indeed. Yeah. And
notice that Hasu is quite committed to his macro game, but now he has a big battle in the front of his bases here, with all of those zealots trying to charge, but there's way too much bioforces here. Those stalkers from the north trying to shoot down as many of these bioforces as possible. There's still ghosts in the middle, and DT is just trying to slice and dice anything there. Scans going down to try to finish off the DTs. Finally got rid of them, but I think the DTs were the tipping factor on this battle here. Now with the remaining stalkers, he's going to be able to thwart the forces from SjoW and force them to run away. So well defended, and those DTs just had a brilliant job there.
That was so close. I think the free armor upgrade, because mouzHasu is already maxed in his armor upgrades, as well as the shorter supply route that enabled him to warp in those crucial DTs, were what truly made the difference. It was so close. Had they fought in the middle of the map, where there are no proxy pylons to warp in, I think SjoW could have taken the victory right there. Meanwhile, we see SjoW taking the lower left natural expansion, but it seems like mouzHasu will have something to say about that.
Yeah, and there's some issues here with the economy because you already have Asu Hobbs working out of 4 bases. He's just fine, no harass whatsoever, and at the same time he keeps pressuring on and on into SjoW's bases. And SjoW was playing on 2 bases for so long that if you take a look at the mineral lines on the main base and natural expo, they're basically exhausted and drained. And we're gonna have SjoW playing out of a single healthy mineral line, which isn't enough when you have a Protoss player working out of 4 bases and still has minerals on his natural, 3rd and 4th base.
Indeed, SjoW has definitely put himself in a bit of a situation here, but I guess it's fair to say that mouzHasu was the one who pushed him in it. mouzHasu has carefully extended his advantage one bit at a time. He's already put down his robotic support bay and is now getting his beloved Templar archives as well, and adding additional gateways to the mix, so he will be able to do any tech choice he wants, and those will surely involve a lot of Templars, which we all love to see. But now SjoW is breaking down these rocks that will lead him into the smiley face expansion of mouzHasu. This is what makes the old version of Shakuras Plateau so good. Let's see if we can obliterate what is here. Psystorm is just now being upgraded, and this expansion is pretty much undefended.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna counter it. Look, he's gonna get ready for a trade-off, entering the natural expo from SjoW apparently, with all of his zealots leading the charge, slicing and dicing that orbital command, and at the same time he's trying to reach the ramp that gives access to the main base, so he starts destructing the production facilities here. And Hasu is just wreaking havoc inside his opponent's base, forcing SjoW to pull back. Notice that SjoW's forces weren't even able to snipe the Nexus, they're just trying to pull back and help defend here.
Indeed, he apparently decided he could not afford a base trade since mouzHasu has a fresh expansion that he could not reach. And here we see mouzHasu now being all up among the Terran production facilities, slicing and dicing Marines and Marauders, SCVs, and this is just an ugly sight if you're not from Ire.
Yeah, he's just losing all of his production facilities. Also keep in mind that Hasu was preparing himself to mix his army with some High Templars. You know that Psystorms are just brilliant against bioforces, but he actually didn't even finish that movement, that change on his army composition, and he's just basically trying to destroy as much of the production facilities inside SjoW's bases and just dwindle down his forces to the point where he's going to be so far behind that nothing will be able to put him back into this game. Notice the difference on the supply, 139 against 50. I mean, SjoW just had his economy completely destroyed, lost several buildings inside his main base, and the armies are just tremendously different at the moment, with Asu actually going for those High Templars, having 11 of them, recharging the energy. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to grind down this bioforce so quickly.
Indeed, that was just gruesome. He's got Templars in reserve and Dark Templars being warped in en masse just to add insult to injury. Here we see one entering the shattered main base of SjoW, where there's absolutely nothing left standing, but whoever is there will still be destroyed into little gibby pieces. Here we see now SjoW going for a desperate expansion at his own upper smiley face expansion, where there's a zealot preventing that from precisely happening, and Stalkers were able to blink in, even snipe the flying orbital command. I think that mouzHasu has it.
Yeah, well, we have SjoW sniping that base on the south side, close on that corridor that connects both spawning bases, but we have once again Hasu entering the main base and start destroying what's left of the remaining buildings here. Also, we had the DT here for a long time who was sniping that Ghost Academy, and he actually did it. Now he's focusing his fire on the engineering bay, meaning that he's just trying to snipe all the tech from SjoW, and I mean there's not much left from what SjoW had as an army and as a base, and there it is, forcing him to GG out of this match.
Indeed, very well played. Even I think that we were a bit unsynced there towards the end. This was a beautiful showcase of Protoss skill at the very best, and their SjoW GGs also on my screen. That was a very, I must say, exemplary use of the Protoss war machine, and an excellent conclusion to mouzHasu's Gladiator of the Week here in the GGvision SC2 Colosseum. It was a pleasure scouting with you, Hydra, but some viewers may not be aware that we do regular work together now, don't we?
Yeah, we do every week the GG rated live show. It's easy for you guys to check it. Just go on Justin TV and type on the search bar GG space rated, or we can just leave a link on this VOD so you guys can take a look at it. We record all the shows and they're all there available. It's basically a StarCraft 2 news show where we just give a review on what happened on the previous week, on all the major events, and throw a glimpse as well as to what's to come on the next week. Pretty relaxed, laid-back show. If you guys like to be on par with all of the events going on the StarCraft 2 community, just keep an eye on it and show up on the live show if you feel like it. It's every Monday, 20 GMT, 21 CET.
Indeed, and it's a lot of fun, and you can participate in the live chat and affect the show, ask questions, rant, nerd rage, all that good stuff. It's good fun. Do check it out every Monday, and also shows up on me and Hydra's channel. And by the way, Hydra's channel is of course youtube.com/xHydrax. There's a link up right now. So do check him out. And Hydra, would you like coming back here to the GGvision Colosseum for some more co-casting work?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. As many times as you want. And let's go for it, because this match with Hasu and the show was quite impressive, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other epic battles for us to follow and epic gladiators for us to show and reveal to the world.
Indeed it is. So on that high note, I say thank you to you, Hydra, and thank you to our Pro Gaming Gladiator of the Week, mouzHasu from Germany, who's a super dude, legitimate and awesome, and I shall see you all tomorrow. GG for now.
GG guys!
GG!
Adjutant online. Building registry. Hostile